In tennis, everyone talks about the next teenage prodigy, the next phenom that is destined for greatness. But what about the ones who took the long road? In today's video, we're checking out the players who didn't shine early. They struggled, waited, kept grinding, until years after, everything clicked. Today, let's check out the biggest late bloomers in tennis history. The proof that sometimes success just needs time. Number 6. Robin Soderling. For years, Soderling was a solid player, big serve and heavy strokes. However, he wasn't elite. For over 5 years, he was a top 40 player that pretty much no one talked about except for this.
Les deux joueurs doivent retrouver leur concentration. Et Robin Soderling, légèrement un peu Rafael Nadal.
That single moment gave him more attention than his game ever did until that point. Until one afternoon in 2009, Soderling did the impossible, the thing that no one had ever done. He became the first man ever to beat Nadal at Roland Garros, and that match changed everything. That tournament, he went on to make his first of 2 Grand Slam finals, and for the rest of his career, that was unfortunately short, he was a legit top 10 player, a Masters 1000 champion, and a man that could go toe-to-toe with anyone. And the reason he's number 6 in this list is because this run at Roland Garros came at age 24, that you could argue is still young, but there are 2 main reasons that make his career feel like a late bloomer. The fact that he came to the tour decently young, but that for 5 years his level was never close to what it ended up being. Things clicked after a good time in the tour, but especially the fact that Soderling's career would end 3 years later. At only age 27, he would have to retire from professional tennis due to mononucleosis, a virus which he never fully recovered from, and after it Soderling could never train at pro intensity again. A very cruel end to a career that who knows if it could have ended with a Grand Slam trophy if it wasn't for the illness. Number 5. Cameron Norrie. Norrie's rise to the ATP Tour wasn't flashy or typical. By the age of 18, he was still outside the top 1000, and instead of trying to go pro yet, Norrie decided to play college tennis in the US. He didn't stop playing futures tournaments, but he did so while studying and playing college tennis, building experience and not going all in on tennis yet. And his college tennis career was very successful, and his progress in futures and challengers while so was also very steady. By the time he decided to finish college tennis, he was already inside the world's top 300. But even if his progress was good, and he cracked the top 100 at age 22, maybe because of him playing college, which is not the usual route, or maybe because of his unorthodox strokes, nobody really knew how good would Norrie become. In his first 3 years in the tour, Norrie would be ranging between world number 50 and world number 80. Nothing that caught the attention of the big fandom in tennis. At age 25, Norrie would start the 2021 season as world number 71. No one could expect what was about to come. The first 6 months of the season were defined by ruthless consistency, Norrie winning matches in every single tournament. In the summer, Norrie would win his first ATP title in Los Cabos, earning a spot in the world's top 30. But the real magic would happen 2 months later. In a crazy edition of the Masters 1000 of Indian Wells, a tournament full of upsets would see a final between Cameron Norrie and Basilashvili, a world number 26 and world number 36, a final which Norrie would conquer and become a Masters 1000 champion, rising to world number 14, and if that wasn't crazy enough, 1 month later, Norrie would play the ATP finals as an alternate. Reminder, this man started the season as world number 71, and from that season on, Norrie has been a consistent top 20 player. A player with ruthless consistency and with a game style that is a nightmare for many players. Masters 1000 champion, Wimbledon semi-finalist, a career best ranking of world number 8. A lot of players with way more hype and attention would love to have Norrie's resume. Number 4. Kevin Anderson. For years, Anderson was a solid player inside the ATP Tour. Massive serve and very good movement for a guy that is over 2 meters tall. World-class backhand and a forehand that was deadly but at times could give you a lot of mistakes. His career ranking in his 20s mostly ranged between world number 15 and world number 40. But what was looking to go down as a solid career had all the big surprises at the end. In 2017, at the age of 31, Anderson would have the run of his career, making the US Open final. Many called it a lucky draw, and it's true, Anderson didn't have to beat a single top 15 player to make the final, and in the final he couldn't do much against Rafael Nadal. But you can call it lucky once, but not twice. And the next year, after a season of incredible consistency that would see him rise into the top 10, Anderson would make his second Grand Slam final at Wimbledon, beating the defending champion Federer in the quarterfinals and having a 7-hour battle in the semifinals against John Isner. A match which would prevent him from being 100% in the final, a final which he would lose against Novak Djokovic, and he momentarily reached the top 5 1 month later, at the age of 32. Injuries would eventually take their toll on Anderson, but this late career peak was definitely a big surprise, and a true testament that perseverance is absolutely key. Number 3. Aslan Karatsev. For almost a decade, this man was invisible, stuck in the Challenger Tour, dealing with injuries, and at a point almost quitting tennis. Then, at the age of 27, he was finally knocking on the door of the top 100. What he would do in one single tournament would shock the entire tennis world. Cruising through the qualifying draw of the Australian Open, Karatsev would earn a place in his first main draw of a Grand Slam. I don't know the percentage of players that lose their first Grand Slam match, but it definitely has to be very high. This man didn't win only one match, didn't win 2, didn't win 3, didn't win 4, he won 5 matches in his first Grand Slam tournament, making it all the way to the semi-finals and becoming the first man in history to do so in his first Grand Slam appearance. This run was amazing in so many ways. Crazy stats like him earning more prize money in that single tournament than in his entire career previously. Him also having such a confident and collected demeanor, giving you the feeling like, where has this dude come from? How's it possible that we haven't seen him earlier? But his explosion wouldn't stop in that Australian Open. Some weeks later, he won his first ATP title in Dubai. Weeks after, he beat the world number 1 Novak Djokovic in front of his home crowd. And a year that saw him start as world number 114 would see him finish as world number 16. All of this after 10 years of grinding in the Futures and Challengers. His performance would take a step back in the next couple of years, but he still kept himself in the ATP Tour until a bad knee injury hit him in the start of 2024. And currently in 2025, Karatsev is trying to make that rise again in the Challenger Tour. Hopefully he will, but even if it doesn't, his story is the ultimate example that persistence pays off, even if it takes over a decade to get your shot. Number 2. Stan Wawrinka. Considered a legend nowadays, Wawrinka once was a good player in the ATP Tour, but completely overshadowed by the Big Four. His massive strokes were always there, including his iconic one-handed backhand, but when it came to big matches against elite players, Wawrinka in his early days had massive struggles to get over the line. And seeing him lose time and time again against the top, few had faith that this man would become a Grand Slam champion. But then came 2014, and a Wawrinka that is 28 years old has just had the best season of his career. But the best season of his career was still losing the biggest matches with tight results. Until the 2014 Australian Open came, and after all of these experiences and tough losses, something in his mind clicked. Like I said before, the strokes were already there. But in this edition of the Australian Open, Wawrinka mentally turned into a monster, and he would definitely need every single bit of clutchness, because in the quarterfinals he had to face the 3-time defending champion and the man who beat him twice in Grand Slams the year before, Novak Djokovic. This time, in another epic match, Wawrinka gets over the line, the win that he needed to become unstoppable. He then defeated Berdych and Nadal in the final to clinch the first of his 3 Grand Slam titles. In this tournament, Prime Wawrinka was born. A man that suddenly seemed to be fearless in precisely the situations and matches that he once seemed to be afraid of. Australian Open champion in 2014, French Open champion in 2015, US Open champion in 2016, this 3-year stretch by Wawrinka was insane, beating the best of the best and consolidating himself as a legend of the sport. His prime years came late, but they came hard. Sometimes greatness can take time to mature, but when it does, it becomes unstoppable. Number 1. Valentin Vacherot. What can I say about this man right here? We've just seen the biggest surprise in tennis history. If he will end up as a one-hit wonder, or his actual prime years came out of nowhere, we're about to find out. But the way this man conquered a Masters 1000 tournament, being a 26-year-old ranked outside the top 200, it's definitely one of the most unique stories in tennis history. And the fact that he played the final against his cousin, that just seems the universe doing its thing. I think I speak on behalf of the majority of people here when I say that before the Masters of Shanghai, I had seen very little of him, but when you see him play this tournament this composed, with such great mentality coming back from so many matches, with such a big serve, such big strokes, and such a consistent level overall, you think, where has this guy been? The answer is, like usual, grinding in the Challenger Tour, which is such a big hurdle to overcome, but for Vacherot, one that he won't need to touch at least for a year, because with his win in Shanghai, he's went from 204 in the world to world number 40, the craziest jump in the rankings in tennis history. So there you have it, some of the biggest late bloomers in tennis history. A quite satisfying video to make, because they're all a big example that it's always worth it to keep fighting. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If that's the case, it's of massive help for the channel if you hit the like button, and if you would like to enjoy more original tennis content like this, subscribe to the channel to know when I upload future videos. All of this said, I hope you have a wonderful day and that I can see you in my next video. Peace!